So what I'm hearing from this is like, and look, a lot of trainers that might be listening to this, or even just Gen Pop, like trainers are generally training people kind of over the age of 35 to 60, right? Unless they're working with athletes or physique competitors, a lot of the time they're working with Gen Pop. So you're saying, from your experience, it's like from an eye test perspective, weight training seems to be a quality of life, physique and longevity variable, but then also scientifically, that's one of the key characteristics that you found in healthier populations as they age.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
okay.
I'll say this, if for people that work with general population and you're starting with clientele that it's difficult to get them to resistance train, there's a simple, we can call it a hack, a simple hack you can do that will change their body composition without having them diet at all. All you do is have them increase their protein and decrease carbs or fat, it doesn't matter. That alone, and I can give you 3 human studies, plus I used to be in the trenches, not as much as you, but I used to be in the trenches. It's amazing what just simply increasing protein, if you do nothing else, what that does to somebody's body.
I used to, it was one of the hacks that I used to do with clients, and we used to do it through our gyms. The first 2 weeks, we wouldn't change anything in their food. We would just give them a protein target.
Yes.
And so we would just give, and generally for most people, like, the women that you were talking about, they might be coming in on 40 to 50 grams of protein per day because they were just so used to consuming carbs. We would just say, I would like you to double this for 2 weeks. So take it up to about 100, 120 grams of protein. Now, yes, with some of them, you'd have stool motility issues and things like that because they are so used to not consuming that much protein. But by the end of 2 weeks, just from touching their protein, and even if they'd only trained 3 times a week, they would have a 4 to 5 pound body composition change, generally a reduction. Now, yes, some of that might be water weight and whatnot, but they would start to see visible changes, if anything, just in their face. And so that would be motivating from a compliance perspective for them to be like, wow, okay, if I've just changed that, if all I've done is change my protein and I've started to get a shift for the first time in a year or years, now I'm going to listen to you as a coach.
Yeah, and that particular type of client that was eating so low, those are the type of people that see the biggest improvements from simply increasing it. When you have somebody that's eating a very low protein and that's what they change, it's again, that's the biggest, you'll have the largest changes in what you just said in a 2-week time period. Those are quick changes.
So when it comes to weight training, and I think a lot of times people overcomplicate the process, right? They want to look at rest periods, sets, tempo, intensity exercises, drop sets, cluster training, blah, 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 blah. Like you could go on and on and on and on, right? But like for a step one, and again, 70%, if not more, of most people either listening to this or trainers, it's going to be general population. What are some key variables that you will look at when it comes to crafting a weight training program for a client?
Yeah, so one thing I'll say is our students in Physique Coaching Academy will know this, and they'll have all of the scientific references that validate what I'm about to say. But I use an acronym that's very simple. It's called LEAF and LEAF. Very simple. And the reason I like that is it helps me to remember it. So the one is load. So let's just go through them. There's load, there's effort, there is frequency, and then there's the amount. So let's spend 30 seconds on each of them. In terms of load, if you're trying to maximize your muscle mass, it doesn't matter if you lift with heavy weights or light weights. As long as the second one is E for effort, some people will call that intensity. Doesn't matter if you lift with heavy weights or lighter weights, as long as your effort is close to failure. So as long as you're near failure on all of your sets, let's say within 2 to 3 repetitions of failure, it doesn't matter if your weights are heavy or light. Now, if your goal is to maximize your strength, it does matter. You have to lift with heavy weights. If your goal is to maximize your strength.